Broadcasting live from the moon and back, this is The Coin Chat, the most trusted voice for all things cryptocurrency. Each week we dissect an important issue and cut through the noise and misinformation out there in the world of blockchain, cryptocurrency, and ICOs, capturing the facts that truly matter to you that will give you an edge in this fast-moving emerging market. The who, what, where, when, and how of what you need to know in crypto to get ahead so you don't get left behind. Now here are your co-hosts, financial and crypto experts Yuri Cataldo and Steve Good.
Hey, this is Steve Good on the Coin Chat with Yuri Cataldo and our first guest for Women in Blockchain, Roxana Nasoi. I hope I've said that correctly. Is that right?
Yes, I would clap, but I need to hold my headphones so I can hear you properly. God, it's when you're doing a podcast, you don't need to record a video, so I don't mind. But when I'm doing videos, I need to have my hat on, which is my signature. So it's like this happens.
Speaking of a podcast, I mean, so one of the things you're doing as a podcaster is you're in this one called the Crypto Law Podcast. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that and what you're doing in that, and then let's just get into a little bit more about, tell us about who you are and what you're doing as a woman in the space and blockchain, and anecdotes and stories are always great.
Sure. So let's start with the Crypto Law Podcast. So it's great to be here, and I'm happy to be opening this show dedicated to women in the blockchain space and in technology, actually, in emerging technologies. I think how we started with the Crypto Law Podcast was actually funny and unintended. So one of my friends was complaining that lawyers and people passionate about crypto law don't really have a space to connect, and everything is fragmented in chats and social media. So I created a group on Telegram called the Crypto Legal Group, and I started inviting people through LinkedIn and just putting a message out there, telling them to message me or connect with me to get into the community.
Yeah.
And then asking members to add other members that they know. So now we're at about 145 members, I think. We also have a few people in the less legal side and more in the governance side. Like we have Vlad Zamfir, we have Gabe Shapiro, and a few others. So we have good people there, good discussions, no free advice, no self-promotion, which is, I think, great. So recently, after we created the group, we just started chatting, like what would it be like to have a podcast, because there was no Crypto Law Podcast. So we created the Crypto Law Podcast from that group. I know the people, like I knew Grant before, one of the co-organizers,
so
and
Rami.
Rami.
One of our mutual contacts, as it turns out.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that. And here it turns out I've been working with him on something entirely different. So that's funny. So he's one of your co-podcasters.
Yeah. So the co-founders of the podcast are Grant, Rami, and I. And aside from that, I didn't know the other lawyers that joined in. So it was quite interesting because, like, I don't know any of them face to face. I never even had a video call with them.
Right.
It's everything online audio, but we trust each other so much.
That's so cool.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
Roxana, before we go too deep, for our listeners who are not familiar with what you've done in your work, how do you describe yourself and what you do right now?
Wow. So I started in this space when I was 19, so that was 10 years ago, as an online freelancer. I've been exposed to the business world through my dad's connections and work, which was amazing because I learned how to send business emails when I was in 7th grade, which is cool.
Wow. Pretty neat.
Yeah. And I learned the whole lesson of you got to be paid for your services when I was 10 years old, because I was buying cigarettes for one of my dad's associates. So I would get like a fee for that. It was quite cool. And actually, I dedicated one of my presentations in Greece to the person who taught me that. I started in this space particularly a couple of years ago when we had a very nice, vivid entrepreneurial community on Facebook, and we reached 5,000 members. And we wanted to create, the problem on Facebook at the time, like 2014, 2015, was that once you reached 5,000 members, if you wanted to just do organic stuff, like invite them to your event, that's how we grew it with meetups. So it was organic growth. When we wanted to invite them, Facebook would mark us as spam. So we couldn't invite them. So it was frustrating. Like, we have these people that we curated one-on-one and we grew organically, and you're not letting me use my own community to come to my own events. It's fucked up. So sorry. So some of the guys started looking at the Bitcoin blockchain because they were really into it. Like, we were all entrepreneurs and looking to find the best thing. It was very hard at the time to really build on that blockchain because it's hard even now. For me, honestly, it's hard even now. It's not that flexible. Even though with the Lightning Network, like, it's got massive improvements, but it was difficult back then.
Yeah.
So we ended up with the membership cards. Like, we wanted to grant people access to specific features on a website, on an online platform. And them, by owning this coin or digital card, they would get access to resources that they normally have to pay for, and all these documents that you normally have to pay for. So we ended up with membership cards, but the interest remained.
Wow, so, fantastic.
Yeah, the interest remained. So I started gradually looking at it. I got into a few ICOs at some point, and I lost some money. But it's good, lesson learned. And then I think it was 2017 when I decided, okay, I think I have enough basic knowledge to be more involved than just a bystander or like just playing investments. So that's when I started, with my own marketing agency, which was it's quite decentralized, because nobody actually owns it. Just a group of online marketers that we've known each other for like 10 years.
So it's like a group that just collaborates together to help with.
Yeah. And we use a project management tool, and we just pass work to one another and reward each other if we recommend other people. So we would always get a small fee out of recommending clients and paying. Fantastic. And having people, like moderators to moderate the communication between us and clients. So it was quite nice because we were referring clients to each other. We were like a network.
Yeah, sure.
Neat. And then I decided it was the right time and right place to actually bring them and get them involved. These are people in their 50s. So I'm the youngest one. These are people in their 50s or 40s that have families, and they're super committed. I love working with young people, but I have a problem in terms of commitment. They're all over the place and they don't have bills to pay. And unfortunately, one of my biggest lessons that I learned having businesses was that when people have a burning need, like they have mortgage, or they have to pay for kids' college, or they just have to pay bills, they're more loyal to you and they're interested in actually doing a good job and getting more work.
Of course.
So that for me, unfortunately, that for me is the best kind of audience that I can work with. So I introduced these people to, I have a lot of friends in the world, and we decided, to refer each other, potential ICOs, potential clients, and we grew from there. And then I started traveling and meeting people face to face.
Cool. Where's being on tour in all the blockchain world, where would you say is one of the more interesting places you've been, and where you've been able to have a real impact as a woman in blockchain?
Let's see. Definitely Thailand. Like, I even started a community in Thailand because I went to Thailand 3 times last year. One time for a pitch, one time for a meetup, and one time I was actually having a panel discussion at a conference, but it just felt right to go there, like spend 2 weeks. And the third time I was there, I actually created the Crypto Lunch Bangkok group, which is cool because it's about 200 people now.
Wow.
So we have them, we have Dash there, we have really nice people. We have Shane from Trusted in Trading. So we have good people there, really supporting each other and just meeting for a lunch, a network, and without having that pressure that they have to pitch their project. And pay extortion fees basically at these conferences just to.
Yeah.
They have a free community which they can tap into, and anybody's welcome. If you're traveling to Thailand anytime in the next year, you can just join, and it's quality information. It's always quality information.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your favorite types of events to go to?
So actually, recently I got invited to something called Secret Dinner, which I'm very fond of. It's a concept of exclusivity. Mm-hmm. So you get 12 people who share the same topic, and you just invite them as a surprise, and everything's paid for. So you just have to be there, and I just have to be there and share stuff. This one is going to happen in London in March. So I'm hoping that I can take the concept. I've been in touch with the organizer to take the concept and implement it into the World Ethical Data Forum series that we will do, my partners and I, next year and the year after.
Neat. So who's paying for these?
So I think this is, you get sponsors. You get sponsors that pay for these dinners. Nice. I mean, ideally, I would like to sponsor them myself at some point, just because I like the idea of working groups. I'm highly frustrated. I'm part of this European AI Alliance or something like that.
Yeah.
And there's so much noise, but no real connection, and there's no real networking happening there. It just feels like Twitter, like everybody's trying to put their stuff there and generate reactions. Nobody's there for the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Is that just an online type of event, or is that like, do you meet with them physically regularly?
The dinners are physical. You fly to this place and you meet face to face, and you just spend a couple of hours, eat a nice dinner, and it works. Because I've had the crypto lunch meetings in Bangkok, and they definitely work. And food always brings people together. I even had, at some point, I was organizing cooking classes just to get people to experience. Nice. I had my freelancer community in Bucharest, about, I don't know, 10,000 people, and I selected 12 of them, and I invited them to my friend's restaurant, Italian restaurant. And for 6 hours, we cooked, we served other people, we prepared the dinner for us. We cleaned, we washed the dishes, we cleaned the place. We understood, like, I've never worked, I've always worked for myself, so I didn't have to work in a restaurant as a teenager or a young adult, but I really wanted to understand another business and how to deal with customers and with people. So that was an experience. And also for them, because they were freelancers, so they were trying to get new clients, learn, how to make people feel warm and welcome. So it was cool.
So, you've got a lot of things you're involved with. I guess I'm wondering, what is like the thing that if there was one thing you would say you were really passionate about, where you're really trying to have some sort of an impact or some sort of a way to influence the world, what would you say that is that you're trying to do? Is there any one thing that would resonate with you as that thing?
Yeah, definitely. Like, probably iMedis, probably the company that we have with healthcare.
Okay.
Just because this is more of a sad story, but in 2015, about 27 young people died in a fire, in a club fire in Bucharest, and about close to 39 people died in the hospitals afterwards because of complications. Mm-hmm. And including one of my friends, and my understanding was that the hospitals don't really communicate between each other, and the system is so fragmented. And when you have such impactful events, you really need, fast, accurate, and systems that just communicate between one another. Mm-hmm. So most of them didn't make it because it took like 3-5 days to get approval from a hospital in Germany or in the UK to tell them that they are insured and they can take them there, and it's like a mess. And I was really fucked up, if I can say the F words. I was really messed up for a while, knowing that this happened, and there were people my age, mostly. So it was a rock concert. It was my generation.
Yeah.
So when I met Michael in 2017, and he showed me the project and what they want to do with healthcare and blockchain and like the future of healthcare and communicating between hospitals and all that.